Greetings and welcome, people. Now, you probably recognise the item that you can see there on the screen. That is the source of the irritation that I discussed in the last vlog that I uploaded. It is effectively the dash cam that was mounted on the mirror of the bike and was annoying me because I thought it looked unsightly. Yes, it worked, it served a function, which was as a dash cam as mentioned, but it just looked horrible as far as I was concerned. So the problem's not with the camera itself, just with where it was and how it was mounted. As far as I'm concerned, it didn't look very nice. So, for some time now, I've been wanting to do something about that, and what I've wanted to do is to address the various issues that annoyed me about this setup. Primarily, A was the aforementioned irritation of as I perceived it, the eyesore of this being stuck on the mirror stem on the bike. And B was, I think I mentioned in the last vlog, that if I do go on a longer run, longer than say about an hour, then I have to take extra batteries, or I have to remember to plug this into an external power source off the bike, etc. Basically things that I'm not very good at remembering to do, and apparently talking is another one of the things I'm not very good at. So, been wanting to do something about it, and I have finally got around to doing something about it. And the thing I'm doing about it is in this package here. Now, I've opened the wrapping just to make sure that what's in here is what I thought what I was expecting, and indeed it is. So, but I haven't opened the box inside here. So basically, we will get to share that experience together. So, and here it is, and it will be, I'm sure, absolutely no surprise to anybody that it is a dual camera motorcycle dashcam system. Now, I've had to make a couple of compromises on what I wanted out of this type of system. Most important thing was to have dual 1080p cameras, front and rear. That was quite important. A lot of these lower cost systems, they'll come with a 1080p front camera and a 720p rear camera, and some of the really cheap ones come with a 720p front camera and a VGA quality rear camera. Now, obviously, the whole idea of this is to function as a dash cam, but it doesn't mean to say that I may not occasionally want to use some of the footage, particularly from the rear-facing camera, in the occasional vlog or just a straightforward riding video. So 1080p was quite important. Also, I wanted the camera mounts to be fairly low profile, compact. Some of the cameras that you see with, in these systems, they've got large plastic almost GoPro type mounts, and I didn't want that at all, because one of the main things I also wanted from this system was for it to be discreet. I didn't want it sort of basically shouting like the other camera did, stuck on the front of the bike, that hey, I'm recording video here. The other compromises I've had to make are I would have liked to have had the facility to record GPS data. Not critical, but would have been nice. The other thing that I thought was really important was to have a remote control button to lock video in the event of an incident. Almost all of these systems have a facility with an accelerometer to basically automatically detect when there's been an impact and to lock the current video file. Which in a lot of instances would be fair enough, but I'm thinking to myself, well, what about if my camera records an incident that I'm not directly involved in, but I want to keep the video of, I need a remote control button to press to lock this video and or take some still photos as well. This system has that. Doesn't have the GPS, does have the remote control button. Another facility that I was hoping for was to have all of the cables connecting the cameras, the remote control button, GPS if it had it, the power and everything to be fully modular. Now obviously on any given bike you're going to mount the control unit either on the handlebars or at the front of the bike or at the back of the bike in fixed luggage or under the back seat, which is what I'm going to have to do on mine. So basically you need enough cable to get one camera to the front of the bike or to the back, depending on where you mount this. But you only really need less than half a metre of cable under those circumstances to get the other camera connected up without having to have metres or yards of spare cable coiled up somewhere on the bike. Now that's one thing I've had to compromise on. I've had to, because a system that I did find that had all of the features that I wanted actually broke one of the other requirements, which was costing less than £100. That system was about £150. It's the Moto Wolf M3 system, and I'll put a link in the description below to that item. So yes, I couldn't afford that, so I've had to compromise on things like the cable. It may be that at some point in the future, once I've had this installed for a reasonable amount of time, I'm happy that it's working, it's giving me what I need, then I may just basically shorten the cables as and where necessary, and obviously either solder and shrink wrap the joints or fit connectors so that the cable can be restored to its normal length at a future date if it's so needed. So another thing was storage capacity. Obviously these, like any camera system, these take a micro SD card. A lot of the cheaper units only take a maximum of 32 gigabytes. Now when you've got a 720p and a VGA camera, or even possibly one 1080p and a 720, a 32 gigabyte camera may be adequate. To me, that wasn't enough. This unit claims to take a 128 gig micro SD card, which I thought was that should be plenty. That should be more than enough for a day's riding. So if I do capture anything that I think might be interesting from the point of view of this camera system, I should be able to use it. The Moto Wolf system, I believe, took up to a maximum of 256, which would have been even better, but not necessarily a must-have. Nice to have, but not a must-have. So here we are. This is the camera system. It is the Blue Sky C, and the actual Blue Sky C is obviously the name on this particular unit. This unit can be bought from many different vendors, and the model number is DV526, as you can see under there. They all list under that. So let's open it up and see what we've got inside here. Right. Let's open the box. Okay, user manual. Multiple languages, of course. I shall get to that later because I just want to see what's in the box at the moment. What's in the box that rocks? Okay, and the first thing we come to is the actual recorder unit itself. Move the box back out of the way while I open this up. And that is really quite nice and compact. Has a camera tripod mount should you need it, should you have a mount on your bike that takes that sort of thing. Micro SD card slot, menu buttons, menu and mode buttons, and power, and I believe that is the record on off button, and colour coded connectors, which is quite nice indeed. Yes. Okay, so there is that. Next thing, take the packaging out of the box, get to what's on the bottom. Now this unit comes with two different power source options. one of which you can run off an existing USB supply, which would be quite good for testing purposes. The other one is somewhere in here, a wired-in power supply. Obviously goes to the bike's battery on you can either connect it directly to the battery, or more likely you would connect it to a switch source, which I will be doing. But one thing to take note of is all of this cable in here has to go somewhere on the bike. Now the other thing here is the remote control button. Now that is modular. That has a short cable there and then plugs into the rest of the extension. But because this unit is going at the back of the bike under the passenger pillion seat and this is going on the handlebars, I will be needing to use this, so that's not a problem there. Find a way of mounting that securely on the handlebar somehow. And obviously that has two LED units in it and shows when you're recording. And what we have here are the two camera units. And those units are actually bigger than I thought they'd be. And they are colour coded, as you can see. Go into the relevant connector on there. Now I don't really see why that was necessary, because functionally these cameras should be exactly the same. They're both 1080p. Now the thing with this system, and with most of these systems, is these cameras are fully waterproof. This unit is not. That's why that has to go like under the seat or in a storage box or something on the bike. Or if you want to mount it on the handlebar, you would have to put it in something to keep the rain off. Something along those lines. So not waterproof, but these are. And you can see that the camera mounts, let me just take one of these out and have a look. Camera mount is quite nice and low profile, and it comes with double-sided sticky pad and two screws for mounting. Now that is quite reasonably substantial. I don't know whether, I think that white line indicates up. Yes, I think it does, so this needs to be rotated, because I'm planning to mount that on the bike in that manner. So, one of those, and extra stickies and velcros and things in here for securing that. Basically you need to secure this unit so that the accelerometer, the G sensor inside it, works properly. If it's sliding about in the back of the bike or whatever, and there is an impact, this might move and reduce the level of the impact. So what I'm going to do now is to move that out of the way, get the other camera out. Let's put these mounts and things back in there. Get this one out, it's got quite a sort of spare. Now the other thing to again take note of is now that's a bit of a score. These cables are modular. Excellent, I think. They are modular. But do they fit these? No, they don't. That's a shame. They don't fit in the Oh, how annoying. No, I thought to myself, oh, that's a bit of a result. These can be used with just the short tail cable, but unfortunately they're not compatible. I don't know whether you'll be able to see that there. Oh, that is a real shame. So it does look like at some point I'm going to have to shorten these, because that is part of the problem, is that wherever I install these cameras on the bike, I'm going to have to find somewhere to store all that cable, all that cable, all that cable. So that is rather a lot of cable to find somewhere to hide on my bike, and obviously I've got to find somewhere to locate the power supply as well. So that's the slightly annoying aspect of this at the moment, is all this flipping cable. But anyway, as we've got these cameras out, let's plug them in. Like so, and like so. Get my micro SD card. How are we doing for time? Let's get this to a quick test. That goes that way. Yep. Let's plug the remote control in as well. You're beginning to see the issue already with all of this cable. And I think the remote control is modular. Yep, that is fully modular. This could be used without all that, but not in the setup that I've got. Okay. Now all of these connectors are keyed, so let's see. I'm going to run it off of USB for the time being, obviously, because I haven't got my bike in here. You can only plug these in one way. So let's see what happens with these cameras. Let's just stick them over there. They've still got the protective film on them, so they won't be as they will be in use. So let's plug in some power. And an LED lights up, and there we go. Yes, it's a brand new memory card, so let's go into menu. Format. Now what's the nope, that wasn't it. Oh dear, doing well here, aren't I? I think I'm probably going to edit this out. There we go. Okay, default setting. Nope, don't want to do that. Date and time. 2019, yes. No, is it? It's year, month, day. 8th. month, and it is the 30th day. It is 12:48. Okay. And as you can see there, it defaults to picture-in-picture. Now at the moment they're not looking very good quality. Stop that for a minute. And as you can see, the remote control is flashing away. Right, that's off. Right, there we go, that's better. Right, the default setting for resolution is Full HD or 1080p 30. The recording is 3 minutes. Record audio is on. Date stamp is on. G-sensor is set to low, which I think I'll leave it at the moment, because I have heard that some of these units can, even on low setting, can basically trigger with every bump you go over. They sort of store the video, and you end up filling up the memory card with just ordinary video. Okay. So, as we can see there, we have video through picture-in-picture. That is one camera, that is the other camera. Obviously got them just both poking it, sticking out the window at the moment, just looking at what's out in the garden, or up at the sky even. You can see the green LED on the remote stop flashing. That obviously means it's not recording anymore. So if I press that, it starts recording. Okay, so just normal on there. Cool. Okay, does that mean you can actually start and stop recording from here, or is this just for remote control? Obviously, being a dashcam type system, this will start recording automatically as soon as you apply power. So as soon as, if it's through a switched power source, as soon as you switch the ignition on, this will power up and start recording. Okay, and this doesn't actually do anything until you're in recording mode. Good. Okay, so quite pleased that this is a nice compact little unit, because there's not much room under my pillion seat on my bike. Still a bit miffed that I've had to go for a solution where I couldn't get rid of all this wire. That would have been lovely if these connectors had been compatible with these connectors, but they're not. So thank you for that, Blue Sky Sea, or whoever it is that makes these things. So now all I have to do is to get all of that and that onto that. Now you can see what I meant about not having an awful lot of room under there. but I should be able to manage somehow. And I might even be able to tuck the power unit under there and basically lose a load of the cable down in these sort of voids around here. Now, as for camera mounting, I was considering drilling a hole here and mounting the camera through from the back. Now, the thing that concerns me about that is there's the framework for the headlight and fairing mount behind here, and also at some point in the future, when I decide I want to take the camera system off for any reason, I will have a big hole in the fairing, which is not good. So what I thought I would do, I think you can just about see it under there, is I would mount the bracket here. I don't mind drilling a couple of small holes here to secure the bracket, and run the cable obviously back up through there. It will obscure some of my LEDs on my daytime running light, but I don't think it would obscure enough to actually cause a problem, but we'll see how we go. That's quite sturdily mounted, that running light. So I'm planning on putting the control butt unit on here, the double-sided pad, or possibly up here, I don't know, there or there. And the other thing is the rear camera. Now again, I've got options to mount it on here, but that in my view would be as irritating as having the camera mounted on the front mirror. Don't like it, it's too much in the open. That means I'd have a wire running across there, and similarly I don't want to drill any holes in this, so it would be left visible if I remove the camera system. Keep knocking into things. So what I'm thinking I will do is, I hope you can see this, it's a bit dark, is mount a bracket under here running back so that the camera is just there, looking out there. That way the view will be clear of any panels or things like that. So that's what I'm planning on doing. Don't have time to do it right at this moment, but when I do get to it, I'll probably try and video as much of it as I can, so you can enjoy it as well. So there we are. It's a little project for me. Hopefully it won't take too long. So when I get to it, like I say, I'll try and video as much of it as I can, balancing it with getting the job done. And that's it. So thanks for watching. Hope it wasn't too boring for you. You're all probably saying, nodding your head, saying yes, it was utterly boring. Sorry about that. But I think it's important to have some kind of system like this on bikes in this day and age, with the way the roads are, certainly around the UK and most other places. If you sort of haven't got the evidence to prove that you weren't riding or driving how some other idiot says you were, you can end up in just as much trouble as they do, or it's your word against theirs, and you're left to sort out your own problems. And it's not how it should be, but it's how the world is, unfortunately. So thank you for watching, and see you on the next one. Bye for now. Cheerio.